So coming now to the holding of the Mus'haf. So for you as on your own, don't hold the Mus'haf. It's not correct to hold the Mus'haf. When you call the Mus'haf, either it's going to be a normal Mus'haf, okay? Either going to be starting doing like this and flicking the page when you're reading. What you're going to learn? I mean, you're going to learn recitation of the Quran when you are praying, and then you pick it up from the table, take it on the table. That's a lot of movement. And the Prophet said, "Inna fi salati la shughul." Verily, the prayer is preoccupying you. You have to be focusing. So when you are in the Quran looking like this and doing like this and you're saying like this and doing like that, a person looking at you, you think you're not in a prayer. So on your own, just do what you have. From Fatiha, Qul huwallahu ahad. You could repeat as well. You could do, for example, whatever you can. Qul huwallahu ahad in the first rak'ah, second rak'ah, Qul huwallahu ahad. Just like that. Companion who does Qul huwallahu ahad in every rak'ah of his. Qul huwallahu ahad. You can't be better than a companion. So you recite as much as you can from that memory of yours. Instead of doing this, or some of them they're going to do like that on the phone, and sometimes you're going to be switched off, switch on, and they're going to be putting it like this, and then taking it out.
Messages will come.
And then, well, the doctor says the message will come WhatsApp, let me read it as well while I'm praying. Yeah, you just read from your memory, regardless. But do your ruku' longer, as long as your recitation. Some people, they do their ruku' is very quick. The sunnah is to do your ruku' and your sujood and the two between the two sajda and Sami Allah liman hamida are equal to each other. Okay? So all these are for each other. That is, again, ruku', Sami Allah liman hamida, first sajda, between the two sajda and the second sajda. They are equal in time wise. So you got some days now, memorize some surah, just a little bit of surah, some lines. But don't put monitors in front of you, nor you put Quran in front of you. You use your recitation. Now we're coming to the point where you are an imam. Okay. First of all, regarding holding the Mus'haf as an imam, okay, the scholars had differed. Whether it is a voluntary prayer or obligatory prayer, whether it is you are on your own, or you are an imam, or you are behind the imam. Okay. Look at, first of all, some of the opinions are to be four. Three are known, and fourth I'm adding it because of the opinion of Shaykh al-Albani rahmatullah alayhi. Opinion number one, which is Imam Abu Hanifa. It's haram completely because if you do that, it will invalidate your prayer. Because if you do one movement, second movement, three movements, after the three movements, your prayer is invalid. So haraka, فوق ثلاث حركات, invalid prayer. So this is the madhab of the Hanafi. Second madhab, that is the permissibility. And that's the Jumhur. Jumhur say it's permissible. So they are permissible to do it. Like Abdullah ibn Umar, Imam al-Shafi'i, also Aisha radiallahu anha, as we're going to see. So that is permissible. Okay, that's the madhab. Third madhab, which is dislike. And this is the madhab of Imam Malik, and also the madhab of the two great students of Imam Abu Hanifa, Muhammad ibn Hassan al-Shaybani and Abu Yusuf Yaqub. These are the two main students. They adapt this. And also the other scholars who are from this era, from Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen and other scholars, they say it's a dislike unless there is a need. A need, not a necessity. Need is less. A need. So this need, for example, that this person, okay, and this is also, they say, it is for the imam. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, فَقْرَأُوا مَا تَيَسَّرَ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ Surah Al-Muzammil verse 20. فَقْرَأُوا مَا تَيَسَّرَ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ Recite what you can from the Quran. He didn't say recite a whole surah. فَقْرَأُوا مَا تَيَسَّرَ مِنْهِ The end of the ayah as well. فَقْرَأُوا مَا تَيَسَّرَ مِنْهِ So basically, the rule for this is to recite from your memory. But you go to the Mus'haf when there's a need. And the need here is not because, I want to make khushu'. Some people, if I read from the Quran, I'll have more khushu'. No, that's not a need. Okay? For example, this person, he said that, I'm holding it because I'm behind the Imam. It will be as well, makes me to learn how to recite the Quran properly. Akhi, this is not class of tajweed. Class of tajweed is outside the prayer. Don't have a class of tajweed inside the prayer. In the prayer, you have to be focused on the prayer. Okay? So, these scholars, they said, if you are behind the Imam, you're not allowed to hold the Quran. So in the Jama'ah, whether it's in the house or in the masjid, behind the Imam. Okay? Behind the Imam. And unless they say, that it is for the Imam who is reading from his hifz and he needs somebody to correct him. They say that this is a need, because somebody to correct him to hold a Mus'haf. Well, we say that, he doesn't have to recite the whole ayah. He could just, if he made a mistake, he could just, basically stop on this ayah and revise it again. If he can't do it, then he'll just make his sujood and ruku', and he doesn't have to continue. So holding a Quran, that's why we need muhaffaz to be behind the Imam, not a person flicking a page. Okay, flicking a page is not correct. So the Imam, for the person behind him, we're supposed to say that he's not supposed to hold the Quran. But some of the Imams, they require somebody behind him to hold the Quran for that. I would not really do it, because it's not correct to do that, because it's going to be keeping doing this and doing that and putting it in my pocket. I'm not focused here. I'm focused upon to know that there's a mistake of the Imam or not. I want to focus upon the beauty of the recitation, not to focus upon, did he make a mistake or not? Let me just correct him. I want to focus about the beauty of the recitation. So behind the Imam is not supposed to. طيب. Now, you are the Imam. And that's what that's the third opinion. You are the Imam and you don't hafiz, and the people behind you, they are expecting you to read, So, and I would like to hold it. When it was the masjid, my opinion still till today, I would say you're not allowed as an Imam to hold the Mus'haf. But if it is in the house now, because we don't have masajid, and most of the people, they're not Imams, they're not hafiz, okay? That's where we're going to be a bit more tolerant regarding this issue. We're going to talk about it, inshallah. So in the masajid, you are an Imam, you have a salary. You're supposed to memorize Quran, akhi. You have to recite the Quran. You can't just... Some people, subhanAllah, when they are Imam, they hire another Imam to make the Taraweeh. Why is that? You are the Imam, you are the one supposed to lead the people. So if you're being paid for that, unless you said to I'm not hafiz, I will do the Imam of the full 5 daily prayers, but during the Taraweeh, get somebody else. That's no problem, inshallah. But I'm just saying that to make now person, because we don't have an Imam hafiz, to make a person to go and lead from the Quran, no. We'll take another Imam without the Quran. Because the Mus'haf is not correct. In our country, now, they're building the masajid with a monitor in the front. Even the hafiz, he will put the monitor, and he's suffering on the monitor because he's lazy to revise his hifz. So we're not producing hafiz, we're producing monitor users. How to use the monitor, how to use this watch, and to flick the page from one page to another. Okay? And some people behind, they think that the Imam is reciting from his hifz. MashaAllah, no, not a mistake, but he's reciting actually from the monitor. That's not correct. Okay, so we say it is only for a need in the masjid, scholars they said, because the Imam is not hafiz, okay, and that is allowed. But we say it is not allowed. For me, I said it's not allowed to hold the Mus'haf in the masjid, but this is the third opinion, as I said. The fourth opinion, which is the opinion of Shaykh al-Albani, it is haram to hold the Mus'haf. Sorry, it's not allowed to hold the Mus'haf. It's prohibited to hold the Mus'haf in the masjid. And he says, rahmatullah alayh, it's not because it is 3 movements will invalidate the prayer like the Ahnaf, but because the person, when he put the Mus'haf, as I said, he's got lots of movements. Some of them he has seen the Shaykh al-Albani putting the Mus'haf like that. So when he prays, it's like he's praying like a woman, basically he's putting himself like this, because otherwise if you put like this, his hand, the Mus'haf will fall, okay? And he does not do the sunnah of, which is making, space between his arms and in his body. Okay, that's how he's supposed to be sujood, but he can't do that because he's being tied up, basically. He's being tied up. So it's not allowed. And that's the opinion I follow of the Shaykh al-Albani, rahmatullah alayhi, because of that the scholars who say it is allowed, what is their proof? This is an athar, which is in Sahih al-Bukhari. And this athar talks about Qu'ran. Qu'ran is the slave whom Aisha radiallahu anha, she freed. And that Qu'ran, he used to lead her in the Taraweeh of Ramadan. And he used to hold a Mus'haf. Okay, so this is the iteration. Now, first of all, he used to lead her. Okay, and he's a slave. Now, from that, we cannot build, houses and palaces, it's allowed for the Muslim to hold the Mus'haf. Subhanallah. This is a slave. A slave, and we don't want to be slaves, ya Ikhwani. You don't want to be slaves. Slaves of everything that is yours, everything that you get is not yours, it's your master's. He's a slave. So we don't want to be slave. Number two, this is a incident that took place between four walls. Nobody knew. We cannot generalize this to all the companions. So it took place between four walls. That means he's leading her. That's it. So basically, to generalize this to the imam who has been paid salary to go and lead the people, and we say that he's allowed to hold the Mus'haf. Subhanallah. That's not correct. Now, Imam al-Bukhari, where did he put this? Did he put it that permissibility of holding the Mus'haf because he's got chapter titles and that represents his fiqh? How does he understand the hadith? Sometimes the hadith will come under more than one chapter to say that this hadith is generalizing this, talking about this. This athar, he put it in only one chapter, that is the permissibility of a slave to lead a person who's free. That's it is. The person who's a slave or freed slave, emancipated slave, that is to be leading the master. That's the permissibility. If Imam al-Bukhari saw that permissibility of holding the Mus'haf, he could have another chapter for it. He did not put the other chapter title for that. So this is permissibility. And also, I could add another issue as well. That is, the jama'ah is better than the... Aisha, she knows more Quran than the slave. But the jama'ah is better than what? Playing on your own. So you could add that as well and benefit from this athar. A jama'ah, to pray two, better than praying what? One. That's jama'ah. And also, if we did not have this athar, we would have said, maybe it is not permissible for the slave to lead the person who is free. We did have athars of, for example, Salim Mawla Hudhayfa, but he was the owner of the house. Like at the time, for example, of Abu Sa'id. Abu Sa'id, he was the free slave of Abu Usaid, radiyallahu anhu. He said, I have got married, is Abu Sa'id, when I was a slave. And I called some of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ to my house. In these companions, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, the reciter, al-Husari. Al-Husari, they call him, at that time, he's like, al-Husari today, we call him that he's the master. He's the master, Abdullah Mas'ud. Abu Dharr, Hudhayfa ibn al-Yaman, great companions. So, and the Salah was established. So they made the Iqamah of Salat, one of the Faridah, inside their house. So Abu Dharr wanted to go forward to lead the prayer, because he's saying, basically he's understanding that slave cannot lead. It is only the free man. So straight away, he said, no, go back. He said, is it true? He said, yes. Why is it yes? Because the Prophet said, La yu'ammanna ahadun fi sultan. Nobody is to be led in his sultan, in his sovereignty, in his house. This is the house of the slave, even if he's a slave. Okay, but it's the house of the slave. You're not allowed to lead unless he gives you permission. So he led the prayer, Abu Sa'id, the slave. He said, he led the prayer, and I was a slave. And they even taught me how to basically make the intercourse with my wife. So he said, when you go to your wife, first thing, you pray with her 2 rak'ah. She's behind you, of course. And seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evil of hers and the evil of yourself. So, and then go ahead with your family. That means the intercourse. We're not going to teach you how to do intercourse. It will come by itself. So that's how the Athar tells us that they understood that the slave will not lead. But here, Aisha, she made the slave to lead. And that's permissibility, but not to take it from the Mus'haf. This is a specific incident that took place between 4 walls. We cannot generalize this incident and make it to say that we could hold the Mus'haf, ya ikhwani. The Salaf did not do that. We don't have a single narration from our Sahaba, from the followers of the Sahaba, from the followers of the followers, that they were holding Quran. Because they were producing Hafiz. We don't want to produce monitors, readers, or Mus'haf holders. We want to produce Hafiz. But now this is the masjid. But now we're talking about the house. Most of the houses now these days, they don't have a Hafiz in them. Okay? Now, let's say there's a woman who's Hafiz and a man who is not Hafiz. Who leads? The man. The man leads. The woman cannot lead. Okay? So the man leads. Always the man. So Aisha, she knows Quran more than the slave. But he led. And he led from a Mus'haf. So in the house, we could apply this. If this person cannot read, okay, and it's not Hafiz, and he could read, no problem to read from the Mus'haf. But the ones behind him, they cannot have a Mus'haf. What for? It's not allowed. Are you going to correct the Mus'haf? Can't correct somebody who's got a Mus'haf, correct the Mus'haf by holding another Mus'haf. No. So the householder, any person, even it could be the son, little one, your youngest son, because he's hafid more than you, he could read. But if he is hafid, I would say 1 juz, it will be enough for the whole Ramadan. If he recites it slowly with nice, that will be enough. Slowly. He could even repeat that juz, no problem. 1 juz amma. And if he's doing juz amma and juz tabarak, MashaAllah. If he did the 3 juz, oh, MashaAllah, khalas, enough, you could repeat that. You don't have to go to this, which is that the issue where the scholars are differing regarding it. At least Abu Hanifa, he said, it will invalidate your prayer.